Okay, so the other day I'm listening to Huberman podcast. Some of you may know Huberman. He is from Syracuse, PhD scientist. He has a pretty famous podcast. And he was talking about how people drink one milkshake and they're told the milkshake is high calorie, high fat milkshake. People drink it and then they measure their hormones. They measure something called ghrelin. I don't know how you pronounce it. GHR, ghrelin. You'll see it in a minute. I'm going to show you the study. But they measure that hormone in their body, which produces more hunger. And what they find out is that it gets produced more because they thought it was, actually, when they thought it was high fat, high caloric, they felt more full and there was less of that hormone. Then they were given another milkshake, but it was the same milkshake, and they were told this is very light, low calorie, no sugar, no fat, you're going to be fine. You're probably going to be hungry in a little bit, and then their body will produce more ghrelin, that hormone, that hunger hormone. So this is freaking amazing. This has happened even with glucose level. If you think you're going to eat something that's very sugary and you believe it to be sugary, your body's going to have a stronger response. More insulin's going to get released. So it just seems amazing to me. And this is a whole belief theory hypothesis. This is different than the placebo effect. The placebo effect means that you're sick and you get healed because what you think is going to work to heal you heals you. And so the placebo effect kind of says that, the mind has a very strong effect on our body. But this goes even beyond that. This goes into what we eat. What we think about, what we eat makes us release different hormones, different metabolism based on what we believe about the food we eat. Now, don't think I'm crazy. I'm not. There's science to back this up. I'm going to show you that now. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to show you what ChatGPT spit out with this belief theory of food and how it affects our metabolism. Back in 2011, health psychology, people drank the same milkshake twice. One was labeled indulgent. The other one was labeled differently, sensible, low calorie, low fat. Their bodies responded differently. Ghrelin, I don't know how you pronounce, but ghrelin, the hunger hormone, dropped much more after the indulgent shake, as if they'd really eaten a heavy, satisfying meal. Belief changed their hormonal reality. This was in health psychology. That was 2011. 2017, psychological science. Food framed as indulgent or decadent led to stronger satiety and even differences in metabolism compared to the exact same food labeled healthy. Again, expectation shaped physiology. And just in case you think this is old, well, that was 2011. I mean, gee whiz, that was so long ago. Well, let me show you a few more recent ones. 2021. Appetite. Participants consumed identical drinks, but were given different nutritional labels. High sugar versus low sugar. This is not really showing us the difference in glucose. Even though the drinks were the same, the blood glucose responses differed based on expectations. Some people spiked higher when they thought they were drinking the high sugar version. Belief shaped physiology. 2019, scientific reports. Similar design with identical milkshakes framed as indulgent or sensible. Researchers tracked both hormones and glucose level. Result, the indulgent label led to lower ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and different glucose regulation patterns, even though the shakes were identical. So it's interesting, this information, that belief so strongly shapes how our body reacts to the foods we eat. And this is one reason that explains why some vegetarians that I have met in my life, I would say about 7 or 8 out of 10 vegetarians that are really vegetarians, because most of them aren't, They say they're vegetarian, but they're still eating eggs or they're eating cheese. But you know, those few people who are really vegan, extreme like that, 8 out of 10 of them don't look good. But every once in a while, I will admit, they look good. They look healthy, fairly healthy. Usually they're a lot younger than me, but anyway, but they look healthy. Yeah, they're usually, I don't think I've met a 50 something. I'm sure there's a few exceptions, okay? There always are. But I will admit this, if you think vegetables are the healthiest thing on the planet, then that may go a long way to actually helping your body to adapt to it. And maybe you can still maintain a certain amount of health thinking that. I will admit that, because the mind is that freaking powerful. It really is. You know, we do have a lot of people in India where for religious reasons they don't eat a lot of meat. Their life expectancy isn't the best though. We have other places like Hong Kong, which is always one of the top 3 cities in the world, meat eaters, and they have they're always in the top 3 longest life expectancy. Their average age of dying is like 83. So there's a lot more evidence supporting eating meat, nutrient-dense food, animal products for our health. But when you look at the evidence and then you look at the belief on top of that, you know, let's think realistically. Do we have cave drawings of a big broccoli, a big plant, a big tree? Maybe there's a few, but from what I've seen, one of the first drawings humans ever made was maybe their hand, and then they drew animals. The animals they were hunting and killing. How many different species of animals have humans killed off? The woolly mammoths, different types of mammoth. Woolly mammoth wasn't even the biggest mammoth. In Mexico and in Colombia, there was the Colombian mammoth, which is even bigger than the woolly mammoth. I know it's hard to believe, but look it up. I've shown it before in my other subconscious fat newsletters. But anyway, my point being that we as human beings, the evidence is so heavy that we should eat high fat, high meat. But what happens when we think, oh, if I eat the fat, I'm going to get fat. If I eat fat, I get fat. No, what I'm telling you and the way I think and what I teach my clients, the way to think is, first of all, look at the science, look at the historical, archaeological evidence. But the science says that when you eat fat, you get 9 calories of energy per gram of fat. You only get 4 from carbohydrates and protein. You definitely need the protein to build muscle, but you really don't need the carbohydrates. Your body has a process called gluconeogenesis. It can create its own glucose, carbohydrates. You don't need extra carbohydrates. Okay, especially if you're a man over 40 getting older, what you need is more protein. And people are starting to really realize that we need more protein. That's becoming a popular thing now, but people still think that the high fat is bad for you. I think fat is fuel for the brain, okay? We get more energy out of fat. It's more fuel efficient for the human body to function on fat. And you know what? If you take your brain out, if you take all the water out of a brain, it's 60% fat. 60%. Our brain is made out of fat. If you want to be able to think more clearly, you want to be consuming lots of good fats, natural animal fats, not vegetable canola oil fat. No, animal fats. That's what you want to consume. In any case, thank you for watching this episode of Subconscious Fat Video. I'll be out next Monday with the video and Thursday with Mr. Skeptical. Thanks for watching. Bye.